Hello everyone, I want to take this opportunity to go through a second example of how to perform a dihybrid cross. So let's begin as usual reading through the problem. So it says round peas are dominant to wrinkled peas. So I'll just pick R's as our symbolism for this one. In this case, a round pea is dominant, so as long as we have a capital R, doesn't matter what the second allele is, you will be round if you're a pea. If you're going to be wrinkled, you will have two smaller lowercase r's, your homozygous recessive. While if you are a yellow pea, you are dominant over green. So I'll pick Y's. So one big Y, doesn't matter what the second allele is, you are yellow. You are green if you have two smaller recessive alleles. Now we got our symbolism out of the way. Let's read through the problem and see what the problem wants us to get to. First, it starts off with a homozygous round and yellow pea plant. Let's stop right there. So the first pea plant is homozygous round and yellow. Those are both the dominant traits. So I can write that as a two big R's for being round, and for being yellow, two big Y's. So that parent looks like it's going to be pretty easy when we try to FOIL it. The second parent that is crossed with is heterozygous for shape and homozygous recessive for color. So if it is heterozygous for shape, that means it is round. So it's big R, lowercase r, and it's homozygous recessive for color, which means it's two lowercase y's, which means it's going to be green. So there's my two parents. So I'm going to write them down below now for us. We have a big R, big Y for the first parent, multiplying that with an individual who is heterozygous for color, so they're yellow, and they are round, and then they are going to have green peas, so two lowercase y's. All right, if we do it the smaller monohybrid way, using the two smaller monohybrid boxes you see down the bottom left-hand corner, we're simply going to first cross the two genes together. But before we do that, what does the problem actually want us to know? Let's go back up top. It says, what is the probability, again, a percent or fraction, that they will produce offspring who are round and yellow? That's what we're looking for. So if we make a little note up here, round is the dominant trait. So that means we're looking for at least one big R. Doesn't matter what the second allele is. And then they are yellow, which is also the dominant trait. So at least one big Y. Doesn't matter what the second allele is. This is what we're looking for our answer. Some type of variation of that. So now let's go back down below and let's work it out. So we're going to, again, first cross the first two genes of each individual parent. So I will take the homozygous round parent first and put, there are two big R's up here. Then I will take the heterozygous parent and put them there. And if we do it for the second gene and set this up, big Y also for that first parent, and little y for the second parent. Let's fill out our Punnett squares. So I'm going to have a big R, little r, two big R's, big R, little r. Then if I go and fill out this Punnett square, now let's figure out what it really shows us. So at least as far as shape goes, we're looking for the child. I'll use a, let's see, blue highlighter right now. Again, we're looking for this option here. We're looking for them being round. When I look at that first Punnett square we just filled out, all four options are going to produce that outcome that we're looking for. Every single one has at least one big R. So as far as having a kid who's going to be round, we're pretty much, 4 out of 4, which is equal to 1, or 100%. Now, for the second trait we're looking at for actual coloration, we want to again see, let's pick a different color here. Let's pick this lighter green here. we're looking for this option in the children. They're going to be yellow. Doesn't matter if they're homozygous or heterozygous. When I look at the possibilities, every single option, all 4 possibilities, have at least one big Y. They're all going to be yellow. So once again, the chances of them having a yellow child are going to be 4 out of 4, or 1 for 100%. So for our probability and our answer, the odds of getting, again, a child who is big R, at least one big Y, is going to be equal to the chances of having a round child, multiplied by the chances of having a yellow child. So that's 1 times 1, which is equal to 1, or in this instance, 100%. All right, every time they have a child, that child will be round and yellow. That was an easy way to do it with the slightly shorter monohybrid version. Again, this is the answer we're looking for. If I go and now just clear house, and we set up the larger Dyihybrid square, let's see if we get the same answer. So now what we need to do is we need to take these 2 parents that I have written above, and I am going to FOIL them so I can figure out the possible sperm or egg cell / gametes to put across or on the side of the larger Dyihybrid box. So the first parent is homozygous for both genes. So again, I could take the time to FOIL it, but every outcome is going to produce the same thing, a big R with a big Y. 4 possible options. That's the only type of gamete that particular parent can produce. While the second parent could give a big R with a big Y, or maybe it ends up with this second little y, or it could give a little r with little y, or little r with little y. So if I wrote them all out, big R with little y, or big R with little y, or little r with little y, or little r with little y, obviously I really only have 2 specific options. So what I'm going to do is, for this parent here, there really is only one option, so I'm going to write that on the top left here. So a big R with a big Y. I'm going to draw my line to indicate the rest of them would be the same. And then again, over here for this other parent, I only have 2 options, so I'm only going to write each one once. So big R with little y, or a little r with a little y. And now let's fill out our Punnett squares. Again, keeping the alleles for the same gene together. Dominant alleles up front. We are looking for this scenario up here of the 2 possibilities. If I get my highlighter out right now, I'll pick the lighter blue here. This individual will have round P's and be yellow. This individual will have round P's and be yellow. So once again, we have, 2 out of 2. Choose a different color there, which is equal to, again, 1 out of 1, or here we go back to our same answer of 100%. If I were to do genotypic and phenotypic ratios, truly ultimately, if I look at my larger square right here, genotypic ratio is really only 1 big R, big Y, little y, to 1 big R, big Y, little y. It's already reduced for us because we only have those 2 possibilities. That's our genotypic ratio. If it was a phenotypic ratio, this is super easy. All the genotypes give us the same trait. So really you only have 1 round / yellow P to 0 other options. Hopefully that clarifies even further for you how to perform a Dyihybrid cross. Once again, you can choose to use either the separate monohybrid way or the larger Dyihybrid way on your homework assignments. Thank you.